Ironically enough, this is precisely, I mean, this is even worse than like finding a bullshit reason to like kidnap Brittany Griner. Okay. Remember when Russia did this? An American national who was playing basketball on Russian soil was apprehended and arrested on bullshit charges. At least the Russian government still used bullshit charges. This is somehow even worse than that. I need you to understand, because like we're not even implementing any bullshit charges. We're just saying like you're related. Yeah, you know the war effort's going well when the American government does a technique that we haven't really done since like the Ottoman Empire, like where countries don't normally do this at all. But you know the war effort's going well when the American government kidnaps the relatives, an individual that we have already assassinated. That's like a very important person in the Iranian military. Qasem Soleimani's relatives have been apprehended and kidnapped, like we're being controlled by Ottoman viziers or some shit. You know what I mean? We just took the family members unrelated to this individual who we had already killed. Right? We took their family members hostage. Very, very interesting medieval technique. Obviously, we're already doing siege warfare as well. Very cool. Very cool that very cool that that's the kind of shit that's flying around. Iran says they're not related. I mean, the point is America thinks they are, and they've decided to arrest relatives of who they perceive is a deceased Iranian general, Qasem Soleimani. America first assassinated the guy, and now they're like, "Oh, are you related to this person? We're gonna kidnap you, and we're going to, take you hostage." It's not a hostage if a pilot is, I don't know, on its way to like bomb a light bulb factory in Iran and has their plane intercepted with rocket fires, and the plane falls on Iranian soil, and then they're taken prisoner of war. They're not a hostage. This is a hostage. Okay, you don't get to kidnap someone from an F-15, but you do kidnap like normal civilians that are living on U.S. soil. It's actually kind of a major disruption of the social contract. I know that a lot of people will look at this and go, "Who gives a shit?" Right? But this is totally against all of our rules, the previous norms, previous rules. There's good reason for why these rules exist. This is once again another indication that things are not going well at all. But Narges Soleimani, daughter of the late Iranian general Qasem Soleimani, has denied that the two individuals arrested in the U.S. are related to the family in a letter published by the pro-reform Jamaran. She said none of the Soleimani members' family or relatives have ever lived in the United States. It's so ridiculous. The niece and grandniece of the deceased commander of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, General Qasem Soleimani, have been arrested, the U.S. Department has said. Yeah, this is, I mean, I don't know what to say about this. It's obviously a bridge too far. It's obviously totally ridiculous. And the way that the New York Times is covering this is also totally ridiculous. Like, I just want you to understand, like we are actually engaging in kidnapping, right? Like, this is a kidnapping. You cannot hold a random relative accountable for what you perceive are the crimes of their immediate relatives. That's not how this works, right? Like, Osama bin Laden has immediate family ties. Many of them get to travel freely in and out of the United States of America, and people don't actually question this dynamic because they're just a random civilian. Like, that's insane, right? That's crazy. Like, that is not how this works at all, right? So I don't know how to explain how ridiculous this is for people who just don't understand it, especially because we're getting like dumber and dumber as a society, and the dumber we get, the more hateful we get, and the more hateful we get, the more we think these kinds of like heinous actions are actually totally appropriate and good and defensible. It'd be like kidnapping Liz Cheney. No, because Liz Cheney could be arrested on like separate charges as being like a Republican senator, right? Like this is a totally random person. Like this is not, they're not arresting these people for their connections to the Quds Force or anything. They're arresting these people because they are suspected of being related to a guy we assassinated. It would be like kidnapping Barron Trump. You know what I mean? Like that's insane. That's not a thing that any country would do. As a matter of fact, this is something we suspect our enemies would do, right? Because they're barbaric. They're barbarians, right? Like it's not in any way, shape, or form normal at all to do this. Here's Aaron Reichlin Melnick, immigration attorney, senior fellow at IMM Counsel. He says, 2 notes. This is the legal authority Rubio invoked for Mahmoud Khalil and Rumeysa Öztürk, a law which may be unconstitutional. Rubio has not yet revoked her green card. He has initiated the process for doing so, somewhat of a foregone conclusion under case law. This is what's going on. U.S. federal agents have arrested the niece and grandniece of late Iranian military commander Qasem Soleimani after Secretary of State Marco Rubio revoked their lawful permanent resident status, the State Department said on Saturday. Hamideh Soleimani Afshar and her daughter are now in the custody of U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, the State Department said in a statement. 2 things, okay? Once again, this is desperation. This spells desperation. When what you're doing, when you start destroying previous norms and like decide to take hostage someone that you suspect is like related to a person that we had assassinated prior, a totally random, uninvolved civilian that has a green card on U.S. soil. Like, as in, we've already gone through the process and given these people like the proper clearance, done the proper investigative work beforehand. Like, this is unconstitutional for a million different reasons, right? This means, and it's not any different than like the way that the American government moved to apprehend and try to unjustifiably prosecute Mahmoud Khalil. This is a great fissure, a great violation of the social contract, an idea that like your citizenship is at the mercy of this administration. This administration can like revoke you of your legal permanent status without the previous rules that were designed around this, as in this can happen to anyone, right? If this can happen to Mahmoud Khalil, it absolutely can happen to your relatives. It can happen to any person that the administration chooses to do this to. And it's also done without due process. Luckily, there's still some semblance of a court structure in the United States of America. It's hanging on by basically a thread at this point. But this is why I stress the importance of like continuing along with these legal battles, because once that goes away, it's over. Like we are in a full tilt fascist dictatorship with no way out of it, other than at that point it's going to be bedlam and probably people are going to have to defend themselves, right? Like I want to avoid that reality, and this administration is like actively moving in that direction. It's terrifying. On the second point, the United States cannot terminate permanent legal status, a green card, without going through a legal process first. And while the results of the initial stages of that process may be foregone conclusion under case law, that makes Rubio's claim false. This was Marco Rubio's claim. He said, until recently, Hamideh Soleimani Afshar and her daughter were green card holders living lavishly in the United States. Afshar is the niece of deceased Iranian Major General Qasem Soleimani. She is also an outspoken supporter of the Iranian regime who celebrated attacks on Americans and referred to our country as the Great Satan. This week, I terminated both Afshar and her daughter's legal status, and they are in ICE custody, pending removal from the United States. The Trump administration will not allow our country to become a home for foreign nationals who support anti-American terrorist regimes. Now, this came this morning, a couple hours ago, and it already has 154,000 likes on the Nazi platform. Some of that is obviously base boosted, but having said that, this is exactly the kind of like heinous violation of previous norms and like humanitarian rights and all of the international rules that we've basically designed that will be celebrated and cherished by some of the dumbest, bloodthirsty reactionaries that don't understand what this spells for the future of America, right? I mean, this is, it doesn't matter. You can't do this to anyone, right? Like you cannot do this to like a random innocent civilian that is totally unrelated, right? So it's yet another fissure. It's yet another instance of like destroying the liberal international rule-based order, and we're doing this somewhat at the behest of Israel, as Israel's also doing this, right? Like it's a very scary situation to be in. I don't know. I don't like it at all. I don't know how else to put it. And now a twist. Now that question like this are going to be note that questions like this are one of the reasons that a green card holder facing removal gets a hearing first before their status can be terminated, right? Narges Soleimani, daughter of the late Iranian General Qasem Soleimani, has denied that the two individuals arrested in the U.S. are even related to the family. So we don't even know if they're actually related to Qasem Soleimani. Even if they are, though, it's still ridiculous, right? Even if they are, this is still unacceptable, right? But the fact that they might not be related to Qasem Soleimani makes this even crazier. Now you're just deciding, oh, well, you have the same name. You're going to jail. We're going to hold you hostage. I mean, this is precisely what America claims Iran would do to our dual citizens living in Iran. There's plenty of Iranian Americans. Some of them are in Iran right now, right? Like, yeah, Putin's daughter lives in Paris, right? Vladimir Putin's daughter, unrelated to Vladimir Putin, lives in Paris. She gets harassed quite a bit, as a matter of fact, right? She tries to live a private life as a private individual, but like, she's not being held fucking hostage, right? And she shouldn't. Like, it's crazy. Unrelated to Vladimir Putin's actions is what I mean. Ironically enough, this is precisely, I mean, this is even worse, to be fair. This is even worse than like finding a bullshit reason to like kidnap Brittany Griner. Okay, remember when Russia did this? An American national who was playing basketball on Russian soil was apprehended and arrested on bullshit charges. At least the Russian government still used bullshit charges. This is somehow even worse than that. I need you to understand, because like, we're not even implementing any bullshit charges. We're just saying like you're related, right? Like the principle behind why Russia obviously kidnapped and apprehended Brittany Griner was because they wanted to have leverage, and they wanted to use a high-profile American citizen, an American national, as a bargaining chip, right? It's hostage taking. It's totally ridiculous. It's totally f***ed up. But even then, they at least had like a existing legal structure that they could use and abuse to make a legal argument. America has not done that, right? Like, they didn't even get them on, I don't know, jaywalking, right? They didn't even get these people on jaywalking. They openly are saying, we are apprehending these people. They have not committed any crimes whatsoever. We don't even know if these people are actually related to the person. And there is no law or rule in the rule books that says we can kidnap people if they're actually related to individuals that we've assassinated or consider terrorists. And yet they're doing this. They're doing this openly. It's so scary. What the future holds if we just continue doing shit like this. During the period in which a person is still in asylee status, travel back to the home country can be grounds for revocation. After getting a green card, there's no explicit prohibition against it. The admin appears to be saying it's proof of fraud. They may have to prove it, right? It's the trade with the pilot. No, I mean, I think it's still ridiculous, right? You can't do that. You can't just like grab random Iranians, man, that you've given green cards to. Once an Iranian gets a green card, they're in the process of becoming an American citizen. Like, this is fundamentally un-American. Everything about the United States of America is being undermined by this administration. Every single initiative that we have launched that is anti-immigrant, that is against people that are coming in here, people that want to become citizens, people that are working tirelessly towards that goal, like, that's what America is about. That's one of the most redeemable qualities of the American project. It's one of the reasons why America has been such a prosperous country overall. It's like, this is a nation of immigrants. I don't just say that as a talking point. It's just the reality, right? So the fact that we are now choosing to go back and destroy one of the most consequential differences in the way that we govern, that has been a tremendous benefit for American prosperity, is truly terrifying. It's actually really, really scary shit. It is un-American. It is total bullshit. It's anti-democracy. It's anti-human rights. This is something that we used to take pride in, like whether we didn't do shit like this. You know, we would say our enemies are doing stuff like this. We would never. And now you got a situation where it is happening in the United States of America. In any case, where were we? Breaking, Israel's preparing an attack on Iranian energy facilities, awaiting a green light from the United States. Attack will likely come in the next week. Fantastic. That's awesome. The war efforts are going well. Israel wants to do more terrorism. Yeah, what do you say? What do you do? Right? There was a IOF soldier that was killed by another IOF soldier. That's crazy. Okay. An Israeli soldier was killed and another was seriously wounded in an incident of so-called friendly fire in southern Lebanon overnight. The military announces the slain soldier's name is Sergeant First Class Guy Ludar, 21, of the Commando Brigade's Maglan unit from Uvalim. The incident occurred around 3 a.m. during an arrest operation in the southern Lebanese village of Sheba. The Maglan commandos had raided Sheba to arrest a suspect who was allegedly aiding Hezbollah. According to an initial IDF probe, during the arrest, one soldier thought he identified suspects attempting to flee and open fire. The gunfire killed Ludar and seriously wounded the other soldier. The arrest mission was completed and the suspect was taken to Israel for interrogation. The military says it's further investigating the circumstances of the incident. Yeah. 21-year-old Sergeant First Class, by the way. One of the few instances where Israeli soldiers actually opened fire at an armed assailant. That's interesting. In memory of Tupac Shakur. Okay, they're just having fun with it now. I mean, that's crazy. Yeah, I saw this. This was really funny. I don't agree with a lot of what Hasan the Hun says. I even have 4-hour-long debates with him. So what if we agree on some things and disagree on others? Why do these establishment assholes think they could tell us who we could talk to? I'll talk to Hasan or anyone else I like. Hashtag suck it. I don't know if he like forgot that he's my uncle. Very strange for him to say this, like as though, you know, I am, you know, a toxic figure that he like reluctantly communicates with or something. Like you're my uncle, man. Thank you for taking this brave stance as my uncle and saying I will talk to my nephew whenever I feel like it. This idea that you or others can't talk to anyone who you feel is out of bounds, intellectual, is an effort to curtail acceptable opinions. It's not good. It's not what good or smart people do. It's what propagandists do to limit conversations to only ideas they've pre-approved. Hashtag suck it. I will be talking to my nephew. Hashtag suck it. That's cool. To be fair, I don't talk to my uncles. Yeah, well, I got a little bit of a chud uncle too, you know, it's cool. The uncle-nephew bond is waning. No, it's not. It's stronger than ever before. Anyway, stop being so ungrateful. You're going to regret it when he's gone. I am not Jank. Okay, he's not gone. He's here. And yeah. What? Germany now requires all men aged 17 to 45 to get permission from the military before leaving the country for more than 3 months. Wait, what? That's crazy. Neera Tandon has been freaking out. John Podhoretz has been freaking out, but I don't really care. I don't really care about any of the other like weird. I don't really care about any of the other like weird fuck Hasan drama that has taken place. I'm sure you've seen it. They're all of the right-wing perverts in the UK love this like purple-haired AI woman that they invented. That's supposed to be like a placeholder for like an alt lady that is Amelia the girl. Yeah. Is what we talked about on the pod. Euros are even more bipolar politically than the Americans. Either a third world is commie or literally Hitlerite. There's no middle there. No, which side of TikTok are you on? It's not even TikTok. I've seen it on Twitter. They love fantasizing about, yeah, here it is. Meet Amelia, the British schoolgirl with purple hair who has become the far-right social media star. Amelia, an AI-generated British schoolgirl, or a purple-haired goth girl, has exploded across social media channels. The avatar was created for a computer game 2 years ago under the British government's anti-terrorism program. aiming to deter young people from extremism. That's right. And now, the right-wingers have decided the AI-generated character named Amelia, a purple-haired British schoolgirl starred as a goth girl, has gained online attention as a viral figure. She's often depicted waving a Union flag and expressing racist views in memes and AI-generated videos. She is shown enjoying pints in pubs and reading Harry Potter, while in other clips she wears a U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement uniform and forcibly deporting migrants. Now, that gives the game away, right? Like this goes back to my theory of like modern fascism is just like under the banner of MAGA. Because if you're like a British racist and you're like an EDL guy, why the fuck do you care about ICE? U.S. Customs and Border Patrol? And it's also psychotic that these guys have like invented an alt girl that happens to fulfill this like fantasy that they have about like alt girls who are, you know, racist. And they keep posting it. It's not even a joke. They post it all the time. All right, here's a good overview.
Amelia is an AI purple-haired goth girl originally created for an anti-extremism computer game generated by the Home Office.
By the way, generating a anti-extremism computer game is so funny to me, honestly. It's so hilarious, dude.
But now, an increasingly outspoken, anti-Muslim, flag-waving so-called English patriot. She has become very popular, and here she is in action.
I'm Amelia. I'm English. And I love England.
I like having fish and chips and a pint at the local pub. I like pork, sausage, and dogs, and fashion.
This character has essentially been...
Get it? Like pork, sausage, and dogs. Like they're saying, they think that like pork products, like they think Muslims are like vampires and pork products like operate like garlic against Muslims. Same with like drinking alcohol. Same with dogs. They're like, oh, Muslims think dogs are dirty and haram or something. I don't know what these dumb racists believe, but yeah. So it's like it's entirely designed around like, yeah, keep England English, yeah, you know. It's very weird.
Taken over, and it's staggering that how quickly this has proliferated across the internet. The middle of last week, from nothing at the start of January.
Yeah, the right-wingers from here in England get upset over everything. They're the biggest snowflakes known. They complain about every and anything. Also true, they hate our halal food shops here. Yeah, but they also love it too. Like they are the first to complain about you know, Muslim invasions or brown people coming into the island. But then they're also the first to eat curry, you know? They love the food. I love not washing my hands before church and wearing shoes when I pray standing. Yeah, I don't... Yeah, a bit of a curry chippy, yeah? After I'm done doing a hate crime in it, we do a hate crime at 9. Get the chippy, curry chippy, at 10. I love halal snack packs, yeah? No, hate the guys that make it. Love the snack packs.
There were 12,000 posts involving this character in one day. The other thing that's perhaps most...
Yeah, I'll be getting a Chinese. It's time to get a Chinese. But yeah, it's pretty funny because like a lot of those like alt-looking girls are, you know, usually anarchists, Marxists, socialists, like very woke, right? So these guys couldn't find a single woman that could fit that profile. So instead, they just invented one through AI. It's so pathetic.
About this is Elon Musk himself has now retweeted an account which has created a cryptocurrency behind this particular meme. So you can now get an Amelia coin because, let's face it, right-wingers need another cryptocurrency. But Elon Musk is now promoting that. And this is monetizing hate. This is one of the clearest examples we've ever had of somebody trying to make money out of right-wing hatred. And, okay, we get hatred from all sides on the internet, but this is very clear where this is coming from. And the AI account, for example, Andrew suggests is English. I'm of high confidence those videos did not originate in England. They were made outside of the country as disruptive tactics through deep fakes and...
Yeah, I mean, it does seem to me like outside intervention, but it is definitely not lost on me that there are plenty of dumb gammons in Londonistan who are willing participants in this. They're like actively, desperately begging to be duped, right? But this is what I was talking about, chatters. For those of you who are wondering what the I was talking about with like the pervy guys that do a little wank, yeah, you know, after a long day of working at the racism factory, I sit down on my computer and I give it a bloody wank. I'm gooning. I mean, that's a different. They mean something different when they say gooning. One of the funniest racists in Londonistan, obviously, is Tommy Robinson, who is an agent of Mossad, but also the United Arab Emirates. So it's always very funny when I hear Tommy Robinson talk about like UAE related shit. And it's so transparent that he's getting paid. Like he's a foreign agent. And all these like dumb racists can't even do racism right. Same with like dumb nationalists who can't do nationalism correctly, where they have no investment in national sovereignty at all, right? It's crazy to me that you're like, oh, I'm a fascist, yeah, I'm a nationalist, yeah, England first. And then the outcome of that, the manifestation of your entire political worldview revolves around being a servile little cuck to the United States of America and the right-wing movement here. Like seeing British people who are like England first, yeah, wearing MAGA hats, which, you know, spell out make America great again, is so unbelievably stupid. I'm like, how do you not see what you're doing, dumbass? Like, you can't even be racist correctly.
Bounty on the head of the second U.S. crew member lost after an F-15E fighter jet was downed over enemy territory. Search and rescue teams working through the night, but the clock is ticking. And with every passing hour, this search becomes more consequential. President Trump stopping short of saying how the U.S. will respond if our airman is captured by Iran. Retired Air Force Brigadier General John Tykert is a former F-15E combat pilot. He joins us now. General, thank you for being here. I want to talk to you a little bit about the F-15E. It's the workhorse of the—
I'm gonna be honest. I think in the upcoming weeks, if the situation continues to go as it has thus far, where Iran, as the underdog here, keeps securing some fairly significant victories like they did yesterday, the guys that they bring on to Fox News are going to be increasingly more panicked. Okay, right now, their job is to cope. Their job is to give you talking points. Their job is to give MAGA talking points. To be like, no, everything is going swimmingly, right? Everything's going great. It's not that significant that an F-15 was taken out. F-15s get dropped all the time. Like, oh, it's whatever, right? I should know. I flew one. I mean, he looks kind of panicked here regardless, but they will become increasingly more panicked, and you will start seeing people closely associated with the administration or people who are directly in the admin or even the analysts start saying, I think we have won our war goals. We have achieved our strategic objectives, and it's time to back away. That is, of course, if Donald Trump doesn't engage in the unthinkable and try to do a panicked ground invasion. Okay? Because that could happen. So far, they keep saying F-15s are old. Yeah, it's cope. Reporting on Iranian strikes inside of Israel and GCC countries is heavily censored, but this Wall Street Journal report gives a glimpse of what is a huge story, the effectiveness and the precision of these missiles. The damage done to the U.S. Embassy in Riyadh by an Iranian drone strike was far worse than publicly admitted, according to a new Wall Street Journal story. The quote from former CIA got my attention. So Wall Street Journal and Washington Post, John Hudson specifically, has been somehow gaining access to diplomatic cables. Even with their diminished capacity to do reporting with the Washington Post, there's someone that's like feeding them diplomatic cables over and over again, because there's someone out there who's like, dude, this shit sucks. You have to apply pressure. That's just kind of how things go in the background. When you read a story, you have to understand, like, how am I reading this right now? Okay. How am I reading this story right now? What are the ambitions of the people that may or may not have given this information to this outlet? Okay. So understand that the motivation from someone along the process in the State Department is just to go to John Hudson and be like, dude, it's right about this. Okay. Obviously, they're trying to keep a lid on all of this information in order to make it seem like the situation is much better than it actually is. But there are certain aspects of this that are undeniable to even the untrained eye. For example, when you see black smoke coming out of central Tel Aviv, it's a pretty good indication that you haven't deteriorated the Iranian strike capabilities, right? Like, it's obvious. As a matter of fact, it shows you two things. One, we haven't destroyed nearly enough TELs. We haven't destroyed nearly enough launchers. They still have launchers. And we haven't destroyed the missile silos, the ballistic munition depots. And also, last but not least, perhaps most significantly, Iran has been able to successfully deplete the Israeli defenses, from David Sling to the Arrow systems to the Tamir interceptors, also commonly known as the Iron Dome, right? It's clear. You can't lie about what you're seeing. Like, you could say, oh, we did it, we destroyed them. But like, if you feel the impact of a strike in the heart of Tel Aviv, all of a sudden that changes the dynamic. Like, you can't out-yap what people can see. And the same thing goes for these bases, right? It was able to produce an indigenously made weapon, fired across hundreds of miles, and put it into the embassy of their top opponent, which means they could have hit anything they wanted in the city, said Bernard Hudson, a former CIA counterterrorism chief with extensive experience in the Persian Gulf states, including Saudi Arabia. There's been a complete blackout on the actual damage done to these places, he said, about U.S. embassies and bases. That feeds suspicions that a lot more damage may have actually happened. A YouTuber invented a way to track fighter jets using cheap cameras and even webcams a couple months ago. During the night, you need infrared or thermal cameras to track them, but you can do it 100 kilometers away. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of, ironically enough, as we now know, the Iranian Iranian anti-air defense systems actually rely on the optical cameras that are commercially available as well to create like an environment, like create a surveillance umbrella without relying on radar systems that the American fighter jets are designed to avoid, right? Designed to be invisible, like the F-35. So they're using readily available commercial technology, and perhaps some military tech too, to create systems that surveil American fighter jets and then successfully shoot them down. It's clear. It's incredible stuff. It's yet another indication that war is changing, right? There is there's a way to basically level the playing field between sophisticated machinery that much more powerful, much wealthier nations are creating, with a country that has the economy the size of a walnut in comparison to America, right? But I thought war never changes. I mean, yes, war never changes. But also, in some ways, the drones that they're using, the Shahed, as I've said before, has basically become like this generation's version of the AK-47. The AK-47 was a very reliable weapon that was seen as a tool for revolutionary forces all around the world, anti-colonial warfare, and anti-colonial forces all around the world. And I think that like cheap drones have created a similar environment now. You just lob flying lawnmowers, and all of a sudden the dynamic is very different. Yeah, relying on K trucks and Toyotas that you put anti-aircraft weapons in the back of, that are easy to swap out, easy to retool, fairly easy to fix.
The Air Force, but first let's
hear this cope. I can't wait. Yeah.
With every passing hour, this gets more difficult. What can you tell us?
Griff, the first thing that aircrew member would have done when they hit the ground is to assess how they're doing. They would have gathered up their supplies, and they would have gotten away from their landing site so that they could find a place to hunker down and hide as they communicate to our rescue forces. And while there is a little bit of concern about the duration of time since they got shot down, I actually think it's net favorable because they're falling back on their training. They found a good place that clearly has indicated they haven't been captured by the adversary. And now the forces are just trying to find the right time and the right way based on the terrain and the disposition of enemy forces to rescue our downed crew member.
You see, normally what you would consider in a search and rescue operation is something that is like universally considered unfavorable is actually quite favorable. Okay. Yeah. You see, when you got someone under the rubble, for example, and time is running out, or when you got someone who's a missing person, right? A missing person, and time is of the essence in terms of like tracking them and figuring out where they're at. It's actually quite fortuitous that more time has passed. It's good.
It's a great point, and we can show you a map of where we believe
this guy's a real glass half full kind of guy.
That F-15E went down in the Khuzestan region, but of course that Zagros mountain range, very difficult terrain to navigate. But because of the pilot's SEER training, the survival and evasion tactics he's learned, hopefully has gotten him to a place where he can wait for the CSAR teams to go in there. But I want to ask you about the fact that this F-15E was shot down. And then, of course, in a separate incident, that A-10 Warthog down near the Strait of Hormuz. Does that challenge the Pentagon's claims that we have this air superiority?
Griff, I think it's important to realize that the American military makes the extremely complex and difficult look easy. And in the last 5 weeks, it has not been an easy, permissive environment. It is a determined adversary with extremely high-quality threat systems. And I just think it's been a testimony that this is a very difficult mission, and you never have complete air supremacy. And I actually think it highlights the fact that our forces are so amazing that it took 5 weeks before we saw a situation like this.
It's been 24 hours, General Piker, since this happened, and the Pentagon has been silent. CENTCOM has been tight-lipped. What do you make of that?
Griff, I'm so happy to hear both the administration and the Pentagon and U.S. Central Command being so concerned about operational security. The only way this downed crew member is going to be recovered safely and the combat search and rescue forces are going to be safe in accomplishing their mission is if they fall back on their extensive training and there is exquisite operational security. We're seeing that out of all entities, and I'm happy to see it.
And just in the last 10 or 15 seconds I've got, these F-15Es play a critical role.
They do. They are multifunctional. They have air-to-air capability. They're very flexible in the type of targets that they can strike. I'm a proud F-15E Strike Eagle combat pilot, but those crews are incredible and their planes are as well.
Brigadier General John Tykert, thank you for your insight and have a great weekend.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian.
They keep mentioning the SEER training as though this is going to save him because it sounds cool and advanced. I mean, it is advanced. It's just like
many will be.
It's war, okay? All the best laid plans in warfare can change instantly when the first bullet is fired. The very fact that they have to utilize SEER training in and of itself is an indication of this reality, right? Is an example of what I'm talking about. It's clear. He's in Iran and being hunted by the locals, Lamau. Yeah, no plan survives first contact with the enemy. Everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth. Yeah, pretty much. Did you show chat when you vibed out with a cat yet? I have not. Are we American netizens? Yes, American netizens are unfortunately not the best. Let's be real. I said Gaza the cat, sense that I'm Turkish, in parentheses, natural ally to cats. Shoykat Chakrabarty and I hung out the other night after my speech at the University of San Francisco Law School. He, we filmed a couple things. He showed me around town. He showed me important cultural landmarks in San Francisco and places that he loves and enjoys and appreciates, people that he loves as well. He says, Omar has been a staple in this community for over 20 years. He and Major are the heart of the block. So glad I could surprise him with one of his favorites, Hasan the Hun. More coming soon.
That's one year. Whoa. I haven't seen that happen before.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize. Yeah. It's cool as hell. We're about to go see Omar and Major. They are the guardians of this block. I used to live down the street right there. I go to Omar's all the time. Anytime anything happens in this neighborhood, Omar knows. You go talk to Omar. Hey, Omar. I brought a friend.
Hi. Oh, I can feed him?
Yep. Back in 2010, my life changed forever when I started watching the Young Turks.
Wow.
I swear to God, the Young Turks and Bernie Sanders.
That was one of your, whoa. I haven't seen that happen before.
Sorry.
No, don't apologize.
Yeah.
This is cool as hell. Whoa.
That was...
Whoa.
That's how you know you're a good person. If a cat wants to like jump on you, right?
You got your back.
Thank you.
I'm serious.
Gotta get his back.
Oh, yeah, of course.
All right, take care, Omar.
Nice to meet you, Major. Get why people are like, they want to protect what they have here, you know what I mean? San Francisco is unlike any other California city in many ways. It feels like you are in a totally different state. Maybe a totally different country, really.
All right, man.
The cat just thought you were a scratching post. It's true. Cat jumped on there because small head, lots of space for cat. Yeah, Omar does have motion. Fun fact, Omar actually recommended both me and our political director directly to Shoykot. Not only does he bring the neighborhood together, but quite literally brought our campaign together. Epic crossover with Hasan the Hun. It's true. We need to be mean to keep you down so the glaze don't get to your head. We can't have it be normal size. See, this is what I mean. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. It's like as soon as like we watch something nice, you guys just went from talking about how Chinese netizens glaze me, and automatically you got to take me down a peg. Okay, I can't even be here. I can't even be here having a good old time. Oh, the other one that I wanted to talk about is like with the way that like the Western press is covering this incident. The missing airman raises concerns that Iran can gain leverage over the U.S. Since 1979, Iran's government has repeatedly used hostage taking as a tactic against its adversaries. You cannot take a hostage. Like it's functionally not a hostage. Okay, this is not a civilian. Number one, this is an enemy of the state that is currently being bombed. This is a prisoner of war. Okay, it's a totally separate designation. It's ridiculous. But of course, it's the same as the people that said, you know, this is my big, beautiful baby Israeli occupation force soldier was kidnapped from a tank.
Let me take you through the other names who we know are being released. Could be happening right now. Matan Angres, 22 years old, a soldier in the IDF, kidnapped from a tank during a battle with...
Like, how can you say that, man? Kidnapped from a tank, kidnapped from an F-15, fighter pilot taken hostage. What are we doing? What are we doing? Like, that's insane, dude. What do you mean they're taking them hostage? Brother, sister, MBs, listen. What the do you think the F-15 fighter pilot was doing on Iranian airspace? He was on a bombing mission. These guys are unbelievable with the way that they talk about this shit. Yeah, BBC is also doing it as well. This moment is fraught with risk and political peril. Our chief international correspondent writes, if the airman is taken hostage and images circulated, it will be a propaganda victory for Iran. Yeah, kidnapped for, you guessed it, being white. So many people are doing this, and it's not a mistake. It's deliberate, okay? Here's another insane take I got to read. The Economist and Bloomberg also called the downing of a fighter jet as an escalation by Iran. Everyone knows you're supposed to just let invading militaries bomb your universities, girls' schools, and apartment buildings that shoot, and that shooting back is an act of unhinged aggression. The New York Times described Iran's normal act of self-defense, shooting down American jets that are bombing their country, as an escalation from Iran's leadership. Augmenting people's anxiety are the recent escalations from Iran's leadership. On Friday, Iran shot down an American fighter jet in the southwest part of the country. What the It's incredible that you have the audacity to type those words out and put it out there. You believe your audience is stupid, and perhaps they might be, okay? But remember, these are some of the most educated people in the country, because the overwhelming majority of the country don't read at all and aren't even literate, right? So even the most educated liberals are reading the New York Times and developing this framework, developing this perspective without even second guessing themselves, without even thinking about it, without thinking critically about it. The Economist editor shared an unsourced claim that this health center, famous for his vaccine research, was producing biological weapons. When this was pointed out, he defended himself and deleted it without explanation. Now that the IDF has simultaneously denied and refused to explain why it directly struck the center, I hope he will clarify to his readers his own comments. He's not going to, because he doesn't have to, right? And the same thing happened on October 7th when they were like, oh, 40 decapitated babies. 40 decapitated babies. Hamas decapitated children. They lit children on fire. Like they lined them up and then lit them on fire. Like all this nonsense, right? Like atrocity propaganda to justify what came after. Justify the genocide. Western imperialism has one trick, okay? Greatly increasing the delusional atrocity propaganda in an effort to claim that our victims in the crosshairs, many of which are civilians, by the way, are actually barbaric. Okay? They're barbaric. They're barbaric and they deserve to be brought to heel through violence, through our barbaric violence. It's very clear that that is the purpose. That's what the purpose of this this kind of propaganda is, right? But going back to this, kidnapped from a tank. If you're invaded, thousands of your people are killed, your infrastructure destroyed, and your leadership is wiped out, says Adam Johnson, in a sneak attack, anything short of you doing this to the enemy in response cannot by definition be an escalation. That's how language works. That's how words work. Capturing POWs, prisoners of war, bombing your population is, of course, not hostage taking. Okay? He was just a 32-year-old bombing a college dorm. BBC is also calling the American prisoner of war a hostage. ABC News Australia is also calling the downed prisoner of war a potential hostage. Abby Phillips also said it. Ostensibly straight reporter Alex Michelson also refers to downed pilot as potential hostage. Like, there is an implicit bias here that a lot of these people don't recognize. And if they were to go against the grain, they would probably get punished for it. They'd probably get yelled at. Nathan J. Robinson says, let's be clear at the outset. If Iran holds a U.S. pilot, that person is a prisoner of war, not a hostage. The terminology matters, and we should insist that the media use the correct language for the situation. And also understand that our countrymen, okay, our citizens, our soldiers, flying those F-15s over Iranian airspace are not there on a leisure mission, okay? They're not there for innocent goals. We are blowing up their schools. We are blowing up their energy facilities. We are destroying their bridges. We're murdering children. That's what those F-15 fighter jets are doing, okay? It's totally ridiculous. We are doing terrorism just because none of our foreign adversaries have either had the interest or the weaponry to be able to do to us what we have done to others. Doesn't change that dynamic at all. You have to be consistent. You have to be consistent in this. You can't just only remember international rules of combat, international human rights, when it's something that it's something that like our foreign adversaries are violating, okay? And not only are we attacking Iran unjustifiably, right? And Iran is defending itself justifiably. We also engaged in this attack through perfidy, through a negotiations process where the stated objectives that we seemingly had for even bombing Iran now were actually accomplished through the diplomatic route. Okay? But it turns out we had no real interest in accomplishing these goals of, like, you know, taking out their nuclear program in any significant manner. We just simply wanted to bomb them. Israel wanted to bomb them, and so we wanted to bomb them as well. Israel had a goal of destabilizing and destroying Iran, and we went along for the ride. Please stop giving a platform to Angel Fish of the Woods idiotic hate. What the f*** is Angel Fish of the Woods idiotic hate? What are you saying? They commented on Nathan J. Robinson's post. Oh, who cares, man? What the hell? It was just an account that was replying to Nathan J. Robinson. Who cares? Okay. It's just so totally ridiculous. Like, I understand I understand that it is hard for many people to shed themselves of this social conditioning, this us versus them mentality, to see the humanity in the citizens of countries in the periphery, people living in designated enemies of our state. But you have to understand these are human beings, okay? Just like you and I. They have dreams, they have goals, they just want to survive, they want to live normal lives, okay? And our countrymen, people that we know, are going there and bombing their schools, killing their children. Of course they have a right to retaliate. Of course they have a right to defend themselves. The idea that, like, because it's our countrymen, that's automatically a hostage is ridiculous, okay? Shed yourself of this idiotic propaganda. Seriously. It's ironic because when I say stuff like this, people turn around and say, oh, you love the enemy, you're a terrorist. It's like, no, we are the terrorists in this situation. Sorry, it's just the truth. What do you call it when you blow up a school? It's terrorism. It doesn't matter if the school's an Iranian school. It doesn't matter if the school's an American school. It's terrorism just the same. Mohammed Safa says, if the United States is at war, then Pete Hegseth is a war criminal. If the United States is not at war, then Pete Hegseth is a murderer. What Pete Hegseth ordered the military to do violates international law. Double tap strike on the B-1 bridge in Iran while the rescue team were on site is succession to target first responders assisting victims of the initial attack. Under the Geneva Conventions, you are obligated to rescue victims of the first attack. Abandon any survivors and bombing them, along with the rescue teams, is illegal, immoral, and a war crime. Like, blowing up that B-1 bridge is no different than someone blowing up the Golden Gate Bridge with cars going through it. Just because other countries don't have that capability, nor the ambition, if they do have the capability, doesn't change that dynamic at all. Okay? It's the same shit. It's ridiculous. It's very, very frustrating. I agree there's a bias, but how much of this is just people not having a better word to describe what they mean? Because honestly, hostage is the first word that comes to my mind, even though I don't think the pilot is innocent at all. I told you, there's a term for it. It's called a prisoner of war. That's why I'm saying there's a correct term for it. Okay? Just as there's a difference between, fighting back in self-defense, right? And taking out an assailant who's like trying to kill you versus going out and murdering someone, right? Because you wouldn't be comfortable with the term murder if someone actually was being attacked and they successfully defended themselves, right? The same goes for this. There's a difference between someone who is a hostage and someone who's a prisoner of war. And I know for a fact that professional journalists know that distinction. Okay? These aren't random Americans. These are journalists. These are professional journalists. There's a style guide. As a matter of fact, I'm willing to bet that style guide is what is causing a lot of journalists to say it this way, to use these terms rather than the appropriate terms.
It's big news, isn't it? And I just keep bringing our viewers up to date. Why we concentrate.
Yeah, it brings a human dimension to the war, says Sky News military analyst about a missing American pilot from the F-15 jet. Has Sky News ever raised that same human dimension about the U.S. and Israel carpet bombing Gaza, Lebanon, and Iran? No. It's shocking how openly and repeatedly the Western media tells you that they simply do not consider brown people to be human. Among the first casualties of this war were 160 Iranian school children, but it takes a lost U.S. pilot to bring a human dimension to the slaughter. This is the implicit bias in full display. Recognize it, learn from it, okay, and don't repeat it. And check people when they engage in it as well. Because this person says it, and they live in polite society. They don't even think about what they just said. They don't think that this is a disgusting statement to make. Okay? Because there is that shared bias that we all have. I talked about this with respect to Islamophobia yesterday extensively, right? When everyone shares that same resentment, it's very difficult to explain to people why that shared resentment is wrong, even if it totally is wrong, even if it's totally bigoted. Our guys are human beings. They have dreams, they have souls, they represent humanity. Our enemies are just a blob. They're collateralized, okay? At most. At best, they are just collateral damage. Oh, well, it happened. It's sad, right? At worst, they deserved it.
Yeah, it's big news, isn't it? And I just keep bringing our viewers up to date. You know, why are we concentrating on one jet and one aircrew? Well, it's because tactically it's not really significant, but strategically, if Iran manages to find the aircrew first, then the danger is we go down a path which we went down in the Gulf War when Flight Lieutenant John Peters, how we had him on earlier, you know, he was paraded propaganda, and it touched the whole world, and it suddenly brings a human dimension to the war. So at the moment, yeah, it's big news, isn't it? And I just keep bringing our viewers up to date. You know, why are we concentrating on one jet and one aircrew? Well, it's because tactically it's not really significant, but strategically, if Iran manages to find the aircrew first, then the danger is we go down a path which we went down in the Gulf War when Flight Lieutenant John Peters, how we had him on earlier, you know, he was paraded propaganda, and it touched the whole world, and it suddenly brings a human dimension to the war. So at the moment, yeah, it's big news, isn't it? And I just keep bringing our viewers up to date. You know, why are we concentrating on one jet and one aircrew? Well, it's because tactically it's not really significant, but strategically, if Iran manages to find the aircrew first, then the danger is we go down a path which we went down in the Gulf War when Flight Lieutenant John Peters, how we had him on earlier, you know, he was paraded propaganda, and it touched the whole world, and it suddenly brings a human dimension to the war. So at the moment, yeah, it's big news, isn't it? And I just keep bringing our viewers up to date. You know, why are we concentrating on one jet and one aircrew? Well, it's because tactically it's not really significant, but strategically, if...
Sorry. I was looking at something on my phone. Uh-oh. Urgent. TASNIM agency citing an Iranian military source. U.S. forces are bombing areas where their missing pilot may be located in the southwest of the country. Oh, shit. Remember what I said? Remember what I said yesterday? What did I tell you yesterday? What did I tell you yesterday? Oh, oops. Dude, how did the Israel... I bet you it's not even the American forces doing it. I bet you it's the Israeli ones. I bet you they're going to be like, oh, the wires got crossed. I can't believe we killed our brave soldier. How did that happen? I wasn't here yesterday. What was it? I said they're going to try their best to recover this pilot. And I could totally see a reality where they give up on recovering the pilot and instead maybe send the coordinates to Israeli Air Force fighter pilots who then bomb that area and implement Hannibal Doctrine. America probably won't implement the Hannibal Doctrine personally, right? Because that's a bridge too far. I don't think America would do it. But if Israel kills the American pilot if Israel were to kill the American pilot on an accident, they can just turn around and blame the IRGC, first of all, because that will be the goal. And then when the dust is settled, no way you did say that yesterday, lol. Yep. That's why Piker Broadcasting Service for tomorrow's news today. Okay. I don't think the American military will do a deliberate attack with their own forces. I mean, if they did, that would mean something. That would mean that we've moved beyond what previous American military doctrine. It looks like we're just totally behaving like Israel. Like buddy and stuff happens, obviously, in the American military, but like this is a totally separate. This is like a deliberate attempt to kill their own fighter pilot because they can't extract him successfully, and they just don't want him to be a pawn. They don't want him to turn into a prisoner of war that Iran will use for propaganda purposes. They can't let that happen. because at that point it's a major liability. So instead of continuing to attempt to rescue him, they turn around and they give Israel the coordinates, maybe, and then the Israeli Air Force blows it up, and then they blame Iran for it. This is 100% speculation. Yes, I'm telling you what I suspected could happen yesterday. Now there's at least one point of evidence thus far that what I suspected could happen yesterday might be happening today. That's the point. Pilot dies on Iranian soil. You can blame Iran for it. You can just claim that it's Iran that killed the pilot. Look at how violent they are. Look at how bloodthirsty they are. And then the dust settles, and obviously there's an autopsy that's conducted, and they find out that it was most likely an Israeli bombing that took place. And you know, a month later down the line, there's a New York Times report on it. Maybe 2 months later, there's a New York Times reporter of like the failed attempts to capture this brave pilot, what happened, and then they like follow it along, and they find out all the things that I'm just telling you right now. If they actually successfully killed this dude, Hasan, stop the propaganda. Hell, man, if they share the coordinates, it will be with a note clearly saying, don't bomb here. Geez, man. Yeah, no, definitely. You're right. Yeah, they would share the coordinates of the pilot, which Israel already has. They have already shared the coordinates of the pilot with Israel for deconfliction. But who's to say Israel, you know, who's to say what Israel does with those coordinates, you know? Just saying. The U.S. is deploying most of its long-range JASSM-ER stealth missiles for the Iran war, pulling them from global stockpiles. Only about 425 remain available worldwide out of 2,300 pre-war. These missiles have been heavily used, over 1,000 the first month, reducing reserves meant for other conflicts. Replacing them could take years, source Bloomberg. Nice. Yeah, they sent a note to Israel saying, do not use the Hannibal directive here. Okay? Isn't killing your own pilot worse propaganda than the IRGC capturing them? Americans are the most propagandized country on the planet. Many of them will believe that it was IRGC and the violent, bloodthirsty murderers that didn't even take the pilot as a prisoner of war and instead slaughtered him. What are you talking about? Yeah. Just one soldier. Infinitely a larger liability if he's alive and captured alive and is a prisoner of war that the Iranians can use as propaganda. Okay? I don't. What do I say to this, man? I mean, everything is so... America is just so cooked. America is so unbelievably cooked that there are people like this in positions of power. Conor O'Malley was right about everything. Like, this is like it's just so busted. I'm still pissed about your Waffle House comment. Okay. Yeah, he's a prophet. Conor O'Malley was a prophet, is a prophet. Everything that he like joked about nailed the mindset of like everyday Americans. You know? There's only one way to be teleported to a Waffle House, and that's a whole bottle of tequila. Yes. I mean, is this really surprising? Republican Party has always been like this. Busy had similar weirdos. No. Yeah, I mean, sure, there were always like kooky ass in the Republican Party. Okay? It has never been like this. There's never been a moment where like regulatory agencies or like the federal government was occupied by freaks like this. Even in Trump 1, it wasn't this bad. Even in Trump 1, it was never this bad. Okay? It was bad, but it was not this bad. Like, you're crazy. I've never seen anything like it. We are actively destroying ourselves. We are actively destroying this country. We're actively destroying our future. We're living like there's no tomorrow. Everyone in positions of power are just picking apart the corpse of America for scraps.
And you listen to Trump.
And we're cooked. We're unbelievably cooked. And no one is paying attention to how cooked we are. No one is paying attention to how unbelievably cooked we are. Some people pay attention a little bit, where they'll look at China and they'll be like, wait a minute. How come I thought these guys were like living in mud huts? And now they have like cities that look much better than ours. Like, what the f- is that about? And then they can sometimes connect the reality that's what happens when you what do you call it? When you don't spend endless amounts of money waging war and focusing on developing yourselves, right? But yeah, I mean, look at some of the organs of propaganda on the Democratic Party side. What have they been doing for the past month? America's waging a war of choice at the behest of Israel against Iran and nuking global energy markets, spending billions of dollars, losing tens of billions of dollars in assets, failing to even defend allies, right? Killing children, bombing bridges, bombing hospitals, bombing facilities like where they develop new medicines and shit. And the Democratic Party is busy complaining about me. We're so unbelievably. Now, obviously, I want to change that with the limited amount of aid that I can offer, with the limited influence that I have. I want to change that with you guys, slowly but surely, piece by piece. But it's so busted. It doesn't have to be this way, but it's still pretty crazy. Still pretty crazy to just like watch all this shit unfold day in, day out. And it kind of feels like we are led by monsters, you know? Unbelievably incompetent people, unbelievably selfish people, unbelievably violent people. By the way, speaking of which, China now has a higher approval rating around the globe than the United States of America does. You know, more Hasanabi vindication, more vindication for this community, more vindication for the parasocialists out there, you know. Fetterman talked about you. Oh, he's back. It's not with Mark Levin. It's crazy. You have many of my party. They're proud to do events with Hasan Piker. Democrats have to decide whose side are you on. Are you proud to stand with that individual or Israel? Great. Yeah. No, keep more of this, please. Yes, let's ask Democrats if they would rather stand with me or stand with Israel. Yeah, even Democrats that have no idea who I am are going to be like, yeah, Hasan, whoever is not Israel, I'm with that person.
It's not just at this point that the Democrat Party as an institution is quiet about Israel, neutral about Israel. You now have a growing sort of movement within the party, even within the Democrats in Congress, where they are hostile to Israel. And you even have some members that are supportive of the terrorists, of Hamas. How do you make any sense of this?
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I mean, my God, you have many of my parties, they're proud to do events with like that Hasan Piker. Now, this is the individual that just recently said that America deserved 9/11, and that they said that Hamas is 1,000% better than Israel, and he doesn't care about the rapes and cause Jews inbred and say these outlandish things. And then like people like the New York Times give these glowing kinds of profile. They don't mention any of that. I mean, he's become such a raging anti-Semite, you know, even
anti-Semite. I can't even sue him for slander. He's too stupid to know what he's saying. I don't think he's capable of being sued. It's like a secret weapon, you know? He said anti-Semite, brother. What judge is going to look at him and be like, oh, he's of sound mind? No, they're going to be like, you're suing this guy? Really? In order for defamation, in order for me to be able to successfully sue him for defamation, I would need to be able to establish malice. Okay, malicious intent. He is incapable of any intent. He doesn't have enough brain processing power to be malicious.
Even the guy that has a Nazi tattoo bailed on doing an event with him. I mean, Democrats have to decide who's.
Wait, what? The guy with a Nazi tattoo bailed on doing an event with me, so I'm good? So I'm against anti-Semitism? Like, wait, that doesn't even make sense. That's not something that even happened. But it's pretty funny to imply that, because it's like, okay, so Graham Plattner, the guy with the Nazi tattoo, is bad, but he hates me. So who's worse? Am I, the Twitch streamer, worse than Graham Plattner, the guy with a Nazi tattoo, by your own admission? Like, what's... See, this is what I mean. It's like impossible. There's no actual narrative you can craft here. Where did the Plattner distance himself narrative come from? I think it came from, I don't know where it actually came from, but I think it came from like some freak on the internet who saw it and was like trying to disparage the Progressive Victory event. You said it? No, I didn't say it. No, I did not say it at all. I didn't know who the was supposed to be at the event anyway. And it turns out neither did. It came from the event. No, the event didn't say that at all. The event said we did not get final confirmation from Graham Plattner before putting him on the event list. Also, I think it's really funny that people always do this, but like, dog, two things, okay? One, I don't care about doing stuff with politicians, okay? I don't. It's not beneficial for me at all. I don't know why these guys think that. Like, oh, he's going to be next to a elected. He's going to appear alongside someone who's running for office. Like, who cares, brother? What the I'm a commentator. I don't need to be around politicians at all. Okay? That's number one. That's a you thing. You think that gives me legitimacy. It does not give me legitimacy. It doesn't change anything for me at all. It's not like a beneficial thing at all. I think it's a way that these guys, it's just a representation of like what their worldview looks like, where they think like, oh, this guy's appearing next to a politician and the politician is like going to give him legitimacy, when in fact it's the exact opposite. Like, I'm standing next to politicians to help them. Okay, that's number one. And I do it regardless, because like there are a lot of people that I think are great, and they would be great elected representatives, and they'd be great politicians. But like, it doesn't. Yeah, my audience often leaves when I have a candidate that comes on, and every time I have a candidate in general, people freak the fuck out. Because there's always like people who will be like, every American politician is actually a imperialist neo-Nazi. Fetterman isn't up until 2028. Imagine you spent the last 2 weeks saying the same shit, thinking you were cooking, then you have Fetty Wap go on Fox News with the same talking points. Lol, I think I bury my head in the sand. I mean, yeah, I like that. I like Fetterman saying this shit. Yet another one of these recently turned Democrats saying you shouldn't be in the party. Amy Siskin supported Sarah Palin as a candidate. I'm not joking. Please stop associating with this lunatic Democrats tying to him as like the Republicans favoring Alex Jones. Yeah, the person that Amy Siskin is quote retweeting is literally an American Enterprise Institute guy who actually deleted it from his profile. Kareem Rifai is the Syrian twink that worked for like the last decade almost at the American Enterprise Institute. Notice how a lot of these right-wing, pro-war, insane think tankers are aggressively coming after me, and it's always these centrist and right-wing Democrats that are also highlighting these messages. It's very strange. Very strange. Anyway, none of this changes anything. I don't know why these guys are crying about this stuff, but I do like the John Fetterman thing. And yeah, of course.
Anti-Semite. You know, even the guy that has a Nazi tattoo bailed on doing an event with him. I mean, now Democrats have to decide, whose side are you in? Are you
whose side are you in?
proud to stand with that kinds of an individual or stand with Israel. And then,
yeah, great take. Great take. You're irrelevant and everyone's talking about you. I agree, though. That's the problem. I do agree that I'm nowhere near as relevant as these guys make it out to be.
With Israel, and then AOC announced she's now going to vote and is going to support even things like Iron Dome. Outrageous. I mean, I'm not surprised, of course. I may have lost the socialist vote and the pro-Iran vote in my party, but that's part of my party that's growing, unfortunately.
There was more about you? He talked more about me?
I always agreed I'm going to follow what I think is right. Now, for me, every single Democrat should be fully supportive of Israel. That's the one nation in the region that has the kinds of values and then the kinds of communities within that. Whether, like, for example, the whole Queers for Palestine people, parts of it, it's crazy. You know, Israel, they have a democratic leader there. That's the democracy in the region. And they have the kind of values that we all live in, the way we want, in our country. And now more and more of them are becoming, openly hostile to Israel. And now they are now making them the way we want, in our country. And now more and more of them are becoming, openly hostile to Israel. And now they are now making choices to vote against defensive things like Iron Dome, because Hezbollah or these other nations are going to fire missiles at civilians. That's part of where our party's becoming. And now they are celebrating someone like Hasan Piker that's proud to be a raging anti-Semite.
Yeah, he's a raging lunatic, in my humble opinion, as well. And
Mark Levin, he's a raging lunatic. Oh, that's funny. Anti-Semite.
And I want to thank you for your courage. Not that I always agree with you, but I certainly don't always disagree with you. And you take these things on and you explain yourself. And that is the tradition of America. And that's really a good thing. And I want to thank you, Senator, and God bless you for representing Pennsylvania very well.
Thank you for having me on.
Bro, Trump loves watching Mark Levin so much that he often just posts clips of his show on his Truth Social. Oh my God, you think Donald Trump is going to finally post about me? It's over at that point, right? I'm dead. I'd like at that point, it's over, right? It's everything is over. And a Semite, Zoran probably put a good word in for you with Trump. Oh yeah, that's true. Worst comes to worst, we got Zoran Kwame Mamdani who can send a text message to Trump and be like, yo, King, listen, this guy, he's all right. You know what I mean? Saying the quiet part out loud. You not a New Yorker, though? Look at that. Look at the hat. Talk to the hat. Spiritually. Trump will probably fuck with you like he fucks with Zoran. We just got to send him clips of you talking about the Clintons. Somebody sent Trump the clips of Hassan shitting on Chuck Schumer will be okay. True. Getting Ogre Fetterman with a negative 300 approval as Ops' big win of the week. It's just something that people should pay attention to, you know? Hasan Reactions is one of the best ones in the React channel.